know. Sorry, whoever wrote it, like, I took like 10 minutes to decide for your handwriting.
Is it cursive?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe you're dyslexic, you don't know that.
Yeah, you're right, true. I'm so sorry. I'm not judging, I'm just asking. I'm making a humble request. Anyways, okay, sorry. As a Christian, seriously, you read that, Jen. You read that. Yeah, exactly.
As a Christian, which books of the Bible, blah blah, the not spiritual.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll read it for you. As a Christian, which books of the Bible provide the most spiritual nourishment and/or bring about a deeper relationship with God? You're welcome. Thank you very much. The fact that I could read the question.
Skills.
Yeah.
It's a skill issue.
Yeah. But whoever wrote it, I'm sorry if I offended you, but it was just really hard to read. Okay. Great question. I think it depends on your journey. For me, the Book of Psalms has been a huge help. I was talking to Tim. Tim's like, what's the point of Psalms? Sorry. Okay, right. Okay, as an 8-year-old, what's the point of Psalms? But I find Psalms helpful because I feel like whoever's writing the Psalms, they're actually sharing their heart, and when they're saying stuff to God, I kind of feel connected to that. And then I just notice what they say and what God says in response, or what they say to God, just really helpful and very promising. I remember when I first became a Christian, when I read Psalm 91, it really spoke to me. Like, I can't explain it. I read it, and it just I was really scared about not getting scholarship because everyone that was a real cause of anxiety for me. Okay, as you guys were not gonna lie, it was like a real thing. Okay, and I remember just reading Psalm 91, and still to this day, I remember it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and it really encouraged me. Okay. That's me in Psalms, but I will tell you, every book of the Bible is good. You can't go wrong. So after we finish Joshua, we're going to do a different book of the Bible. And honestly, it doesn't matter. You don't have to fight over which book shall we do. Choose whichever book. You can't go wrong. Make sense? But it depends on your journey, where you're at. Maybe for you, one of the New Testament books. I find Ephesians really helpful. I really like Ephesians, studying Ephesians. Finished studying Ephesians. I'll study another book now. Sometimes going through Romans is really good, sometimes Genesis, sometimes Revelation, whatever, okay? They're all good, but for me personally, it's been Psalms. Make sense? Okay? And yeah, so my high recommend is start somewhere. Maybe some of the prophetic books, you might be very confused. If you start with like an Ezekiel or an Obadiah or like a Nahum, you might not know what's going on. Okay? If you want to read the prophetic literature, it's good to read up on what's happening in the history at the time as they were prophesying, because they don't make more sense. But that might take a little bit longer to get. It's a bit more complex. And if you're into Revelation and apocalyptic stuff, then that's also quite complex. But try to draw out some of the key biblical principles from there. Okay? Sheesh. Okay, now we're going to go a little bit harder. All right. How do we know that wars and atrocities are allowed by God for people to grow close to Him instead of such war being a product of sin? Okay, great question. I think there are a lot of complexities that are going on, in this question, and it's there are a few key things. Number one, is God in control? That's one of the questions here. Okay. Number two is, does God allow atrocities and wars to happen? And the answer to that one is just a yes. Okay? So then the question is, if God is in control, and why does He then allow wars and atrocities to happen? Make sense? Okay? And then the person is asking, is the intention of these God allowing wars and atrocities, is the intention of God allowing wars for people to grow close to Him? Is that why God allows it? Or is the intention, or are these wars and atrocities purely a product of sin? Make sense? So, understanding this question, let me just try to say this first. Is God sitting on the throne, and is He the one who's the boss of the universe? Yes or no? I think yes. Some people say no. Some people have what they call open theism, which is God is God, but He doesn't get involved with worldly affairs. Okay? I don't hold that view. I think God knows exactly what's going on, and He allows things to happen. So therefore, if He's the boss, number two, the question then here is, why does God allow atrocities? For what purpose? Is it to help you grow close to Him, or is it a product of sin? Okay. To ask why God allows these atrocities to happen is very difficult. Okay, very, very difficult. What I do know is when I read the Old Testament, when you read Daniel and you read the rise and fall of these kingdoms, it's almost like the Rome